on my email signature, it said producer because that's how Devin wanted me to present myself to people. So they're like, hey, can you produce it? And what's your day rate? And so it was kind of just one of those like, yes, I am a producer. I remember I went to Devin and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. And props to him. I think he was skeptical, but he gave me the chance. I was like, hey, I want to do this. I think I can do it. I was way out of my depth. A lot of stuff went wrong in that shoot. Not my fault, but it's like the insurance fell through like at the last minute. They wouldn't let the athletes step foot on the helicopter because of some insurance loophole. At 7 in the morning on this shoot, we had to make them all their own LLCs. So then Marshall's insurance could cover it. It was some weird thing. That was my first big and dude, I remember being stressed.
Yeah.
Like I can get hotels and line up locations and deal with permits and stuff like that. But like the insurance side of things and like dealing with Warner Brothers legal team, that was like, okay, this is why Buddy makes so much money.
We're doing it. Welcome to America's film journey. I'm just kidding. I always almost say America. A filmmaker's journey. Welcome, Carter Hogan.
Good to be here.
Are you nervous?
No, I'm a seasoned podcast guest.
You have been talking on one of these mics for a long time. I am nervous because we haven't talked in so long. I'm excited to like dig in, find out all the things that we already know about each other, but then at the same time,
Dirty little secrets.
Hear all the extra stuff that most people don't know about.
Well, I actually begged you to come on. I saw my friends coming out and I was like, please.
Well, I'm like, hey, you're in St. George. I wanted you like top 10. And then
did we make it?
I don't come up to Salt Lake.
Did you already do 10?
I think you're 18.
Oh, wow. You've been busy.
Every week.
Okay.
We haven't missed one yet. It's been a lot, man. Doing a podcast is freaking hard. I knew that, but like when you're actually doing it, it's extra hard.
If anyone can do it, it's you though. Like I remember that daily content grind. You were hot on, y'all. I'm gonna do it.
Rubbing all the people the wrong way while I was doing it, trying to manage a full-time job and grow a channel. So yeah, man, the hustle's there, but got a great team that helps me a lot. So
nice.
Yeah. So welcome to Salt Lake City. It's been like 8 months.
It's been a hot minute since I've been up here. It's great up here in the summertime, but I try and come up as little as I possibly can.
Well, I'm excited because I think you and I, next to Zane, have probably you and I even more, have traveled together for so long. We've seen so many places. We shot together so much. We have a lot of cool experiences, and we're going to unpack those as we're kind of going through this. And but we start things off with you, an introduction for what you're doing right now, kind of what you're doing in your career. Is it filmmaking? Is it not? Are you a filmmaker? Are you not? You've been a filmmaker, you're probably more into the business side of things now, but just tell me a little bit about where you're at currently in your career.
Yeah, no, I don't think I ever really considered myself a filmmaker, like ever.
Yeah.
Even though I've pretended to be one for many years. So no, right now, I mean, we'll get into that. But so I guess technically right now, it's weird to say, but I guess I'm a software company.
Yeah.
I run a software, which kind of seems like that's not at all what I do. But essentially, we have a software called VidLead Studio. And it helps video pros manage and scale their business. And so it's kind of a weird pathway of how I got to owning a software company, but that's what I do full time.
And you love it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, on a lot of different levels, it's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Because I think once you're in video, you never really leave it.
Yeah.
It's like you're always doing it a little bit for yourself or like family members. So the fact that I can kind of be in video, but I'm not making videos every day.
Yeah.
Because that was never my passion. Like I'm not like the Tysons and Devins and Zanes where it's like when I was 6, I knew this is what I wanted to do. Like, no, not even close. But somehow I ended up in this community of filmmakers. And so it's a good balance for
you support filmmakers, like hundreds of filmmakers with this software.
I mean, technically thousands, but yeah, no, for
thousands.
We can cut that out, but
no, it's true. We need to actually hear what's happening. And VidLead's amazing. And we actually just did a video for you last Friday.
I'm excited to see it. The screen grabs. The fact that you guys were matching our website colors, which I didn't care about. I was like, I don't care what the colors are. And then I saw the screen grab. I was like, oh, okay.
It's easy here. It's a click of a button. We have it all like synced to our iPads. So don't worry. We took care of you.
No, I'm stoked to see it.
It's good. And so you're running the software company. What else is going on in your life? Are you doing anything else besides the software company? Like any hobbies / side hustles?
I mean, hobbies, that's kind of my thing a little bit. I I mean, too many. Like if we're like non-work hobbies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm on the lake as much as I can. That's why I moved down south.
St. George.
I'm recent to the dirt biking scene, going on about 3 years. So I'm pretty heavy into that right now.
We still need to go riding.
Yeah, we tried. Your kids
We were
kind
so
of
close.
ruined that. You went to a water park instead. So, yeah. I mean, I live in southern Utah. The dirt starts at the top of my street. So like, I'm trying to get my kids out there as much as I can. So dirt biking, razoring, boating, that's kind of where I spend all my time. I mean, me, like
You're a dad.
I'm full-time dad.
Yeah. And you're taking care of 4 kids.
4.
That's amazing. And you have been a dad since I met you. I think that because like I think like Devin, he didn't have kids. Parker didn't have kids.
Nobody had.
You were like the guy that had kids first. You were the dad. We always called you that when we were traveling because you not only took care of us and produced, but you also were a dad.
Yeah, no, I had them. I always had the money for everybody, told everybody where to go. But yeah, my first trip actually for Devin was probably like 7 or 8 days after my first kid was born. And it was like,
that's right.
Because it was like Parker was going to Dubai, and I had never met Devin. Yeah. I had worked for him. I was doing behind the scenes for him. But yeah, they're like, hey, we need someone to go to Dubai. And I think it was like $1,500 for like 10 days.
Heck
and
yeah.
at that time, it was like, it took me like a couple months to earn $1,500. So it was like, it wasn't even for the experience. It was like, we needed the money.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, like I remember, my first kid, it was kind of tough. I was like, hey, I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. Like, and it was right before Christmas. I'm like, what am I doing out here? But we needed the money. So
yeah, but Dubai too. That's a sick experience. Like,
it was good.
Of all places, the first one, and then you got to go with Parker. I'm sure that was super fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, Parker and I go way back. So just traveling the world with one of your best buddies. Like,
and did you know? Well, I hope he shows up, and he actually will. But he's scheduled for next week.
He won't no show you.
He sent me his email. He hasn't accepted the invite. But we'll know if this is out that I've already done it. So I'm excited though, because I don't really know Parker like I know anyone else.
No, he's not a flake. But if like family stuff comes up, he'll put family before work any day of the week. So
he's a big timer though. Like he's retired.
Yeah, no, I think so. I don't talk to him like a ton anymore. I mean, he's moving back up here.
Yeah,
actually, maybe he's already moved.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he's last time I checked,
because he did make it sound like he was gonna be here.
And yeah, he's here quite a bit.
Okay, cool. But so we've gotten to know you pretty well now, at least what you're currently at. Now I want to go back to the very beginning, and yours is, like you said, isn't as traditional as maybe most people, and you didn't even expect to be in this industry.
No.
But I'm curious too, like, what were you thinking about before this? Like, kind of like your career path that you went on early. Hey, let's just start with like, you were like, hey, I want to be this when I grow up.
Yeah, I don't think I really knew for a while. And I remember like I was in college and I still didn't quite know. And I was dating some girl that was like, I'm going to be a physical therapist.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, okay, like, I mean, she was working with athletes and it's like, I mean, I'm not like good enough to be an athlete, but like, hey, like we could, working with them. I enjoy anyway, so I started to look into that. And so then I just decided I went and worked for one. I really enjoyed it. I got into the U's, I guess it's a graduate program. So I was in the program to get a doctorate in physical therapy. But like all during the same time, I had started working for Devin like years before, but it was always just like a means to an end. It was like, they were doing cool stuff. Like I wasn't really into like the video side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed doing it and I was decent at it, but it was more just like, I enjoyed what Devin was doing. It was like, it was all in my backyard. He was doing these awesome, like, stunts and sports. And it's like, that looks like a good time. Like, and so that's what kind of got me into Devin. But initially, I was going into physical therapy.
I've totally forgot about that. I was actually really curious and I forgot because we had talked about that. And then you were in physical therapy. I know you were on your mission and that's where you met Parker, right?
Yeah. So yeah, if we go back,
because I want to go back to
you want to go back to the beginning? Okay.
Like,
I mean, yeah, high school. I mean, my dad was an electrical contractor, so I worked construction.
We've done some electrical work together.
Yeah, I've finished many of Tyson's basements.
You're bringing back all the memories, man.
But so yeah, I worked construction. I was gonna, work or take over my dad's company. Kind of realized that wasn't for me. It was also during like the 2008 recession, where it's like construction companies, they were a dime a dozen, weren't doing very well. So that's when I left on my mission. So and decided I wasn't going to work construction if I could help it.
Did you already think about being a PT at that point?
No, not even
Not
close.
even there yet.
No. So I go on my mission, went to Uruguay, down in South America. That's where me and Parker met, actually, was we met on a plane going to Argentina.
Oh, so you right out the gate, first day.
Right out the gate. I mean, there was just like a group of us, and he was there. I was there.
That's cool.
But we became friends pretty quick. And then I guess technically on my mission, that was like my first introduction to video. So it's like I had a point and shoot camera, and not that they hadn't seen cameras before, but like it was kind of a novelty for some, like in the smaller cities we were in, it's like for them to see themselves on camera. So I just started going around and filming people in the community about like different topics. Like we had a bunch of different stuff going on. And then I had like, it was just a little Canon point and shoot, like the little telescoping lens came out. And so we had all these videos, and we're like, we want to make a little movie premiere for this town. It was a town of like 2,000 people, and it's like, let's edit this together and like premiere it. And just have everybody come in the community.
Why were you the video person?
It was just an idea. Like I had the camera, and like all the kids thought it was cool, so I always had it on me.
The kids.
So I already knew it was like a novelty. But so yeah, we would pay hourly in like a little cyber cafe to use their computer on like Windows Movie Maker 7 or something like that. Like I had no idea.
2006,
2008, 2009. And there's probably other stuff out at the time, but that's what the cyber cafes had. Like that's the only way we had internet, was if we went, or a computer.
At that time there weren't downloads. It was CD-ROMs. You had to download to your computer. So I'm sure that there's
and like I don't. We had like an SD card from the camera sticking in the computer. So yeah, somehow I remember like it came to a point where we were like spending too much money. It was like, because we were paying hourly to use it, and it's like we didn't know how to edit. So anyway, we fumbled this thing together, and it was like a huge success. And so then I started doing that at every city I went to. And I guess technically that was like my first introduction to like making movies.
So you learned to edit on your mission.
If you call it that. Yeah. I mean, we were putting videos together and splicing them and putting music behind it. There wasn't much editing.
Yeah.
It was just getting it into a format so we could burn a DVD and then show it to everybody.
That's cool. And then on your mission, like you were running the camera, you were editing. Did you start to like see this as a future? Or
no.
Nope, this is just cool.
Not even close. I guess like probably more where it became like maybe I could make money off of it. It was like by the time I was married, I think my wife gave me a GoPro. And so I was just making like ski videos. Like we'd go snow skiing with my buddies, or like we'd go to like the lake and we'd make little wakeboard videos. So I started to make those. And then I think a family member was like, hey, and of course I had like seen what Devin was doing. I didn't own a camera. I guess technically my mom gave my wife a camera because my wife was kind of into photography. It's like a little Canon Rebel T3i.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me to do a wedding. I bought a glide cam with money I did not have. I was like, hey, they're going to give me, I think I made $150. They're going to give me $150. The glide cam was like $500 off of eBay.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I can pay for this glide cam.
You went for the glide cam. I bought the first one I ever bought was like from India. It was a total knockoff for like $100
fly cam or something.
It's a fly cam. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of knew what Devin was about. At this time, Parker wasn't working for him, but me and Parker were both kind of interested in what he was doing. Well, Parker way more than me.
Yeah. So you guys were like following what he was up to.
Oh yeah, 100% for sure. And then, so like I had people ask me to do weddings. One wedding turns into 2 or 3 or 4. And then all of a sudden I remember I did like a same day edit wedding for some person I didn't know. And like, so I shot the wedding in the morning, I edited it, I delivered it that night, and they gave me a check for $300. And I thought, like at the time I was like, in a day, I just made $300. I mean, me and my wife, we were both going to school, like making it work. Like we didn't have money.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so then I started that, but then that's where it kind of became a side hustle for sure.
So it was just a side hustle. You're still going to school. And then what happened after that? Like you obviously had experience. I didn't know you did weddings. That's to me.
No, I did quite a few. I did probably like 15 or 20. I guess that's not like a ton.
That's but if you're not planning on staying in it.
Yeah, no, it was just to make money. I mean, the only reason I had Adobe Premiere was because my brother-in-laws, there's like 3 of them, they all worked for Adobe. So I got that for free. So I started using that. I actually taught Parker how to use Adobe Premiere.
Hey.
Because him and Devin were on Final Cut Pro, and then something happened where they were switching.
Yeah.
And he knew I used it, so I remember sitting down in my apartment. And he's like, "All right, what are the controls on this?"
Dude, you made the switch the same time I did. That was like right around when I went from Final Cut to Premiere because it went to X, and everyone hated X.
Oh, see, I never once used.
And then Premiere has been the tried and true since. So, and then so it was just a hobby. You were making money. Still no like this is a side hustle. Still no like this is my career.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like kind of all around that same time, like Parker started working for Devin. And I don't know how long he worked there before I came into the picture, but it was kind of just like, hey, I mean, Parker was more the business mind. Devin was just like, go, go, go. So Parker was the one that's like, hey, we need help. I've got this kid that can edit BTS videos. And it was a perfect gig for me. I could edit during class, like at school, in between classes. And so I was editing just like one-off videos for a couple $100 in like early days. I don't even know which videos we were doing at that time, but
yeah.
So I was just a BTS editor, and I probably did that for 4 or 5 months. Never met Devin once. The first time I met him was, you know, when they put that excavator in Utah Lake,
yeah,
and they were like spinning it around. I showed up.
Paul and David Dobrik, I think, were there.
No, that was the second time they did it.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about
way
10 years before that happened. And so like Creighton and Bob, like the whole OG crew was there. But I showed up, and he looked at me. They were looking for someone to run a camera for BTS. And I like raised my hand. I remember I had like this little beanie on. He's like, "You know how to run a camera?" And I just looked at him, and I'm like, I do work for you, right? And he's like, "Are you Carter?" Because we had never met.
No
So
way.
it wasn't his fault, but we had never met.
So he knew that you were doing edits.
He knew who Carter Hogan was and that I was an editor.
Okay.
And me and Parker were the only two people that worked for him.
Yeah.
So he's like, "You know how to run a camera?" I was like, "You know I work for you."
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. But
He probably still has you as Carter intern or something.
oh no, he totally names people like that. Like
That was my ring forever.
probably not a first name. Parker's editor friend. Like,
Yeah, it's
probably what it was.
Mine was Tyson intern for like literally the entire time I worked there. Probably still.
Yeah. So yeah, so then I kind of helped him shoot BTS. Maybe did some main long lens camera stuff, but then just kind of slowly started doing more and more and more for him. And then I was still going to school. And so I remember I had like a 6-month break between when my doctorate program started and when I graduated. And I was just like, hey, I need to make money. I can go work construction. Like I can go be an electrician for the summer. Or I can work for you.
Yeah.
But like, cause they were just kind of giving me projects one off. And it's like, I just need to know if money's coming in. And if you want me like available, I can work for you. And he was like, yeah. It's like, you know, how much do you want? And I think it was like, I was like nervous to ask him. I was like, well, like between what my wife's like, I need like $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he was just like, yeah, sure.
Cool. Like I can do that.
Great. So then I started working for him full time, no matter if I had edits or not. I knew I was making $1,500 a month. And then it just kind of slowly more and more and more to the point where I was pretty ingrained in what they were doing.
Yeah.
But I was starting school in August.
Yeah. So it was approaching and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of me wanted to explore it, but I didn't really like dare to. I mean, I just had a kid 6 months before. So it's like, I'm going to drop out of my doctorate program and go make YouTube videos. Like that's insane.
Yeah. Especially at that time.
And so I remember I would ride, it's not tracks, the front runner.
Yeah.
I would ride the front runner to school. So I had like an hour commute and I would edit videos because I still needed to make money. So I was editing videos, and my wife, Kara, could tell I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
And I would have never said anything. I would have never done anything, but she had to meet Parker one day to like exchange hard drives. And she was like, hey, like, I don't think he wants to do what he's doing. Like,
okay.
if he doesn't do it, like, I think she was more like, is he good?
Yeah.
Like, and Parker's like, well, he's not bad.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think there'd be room on the team. So like, she's the one who started it. And then I don't really remember what happened. I think Parker talked to Devin. I think Devin asked me, he's like, hey, do you want a full-time job? And it was, so then I remember I had some meeting with them. So I'm like in school. I'm only like 2 months in. And of course, Devin, he's like, hey, I get home from a trip at 8 o'clock. Let's meet in my apartment.
Yeah.
Of course, knowing Devin, like 8 o'clock, like I'm sitting there at 7. Like, cause I'm antsy. I'm like, man, am I about to make this huge career change? Yeah. Of course, he doesn't show up. Like 8 turns into 9, 9 turns into 10. Like finally at midnight, he's like, hey, like, I can't meet tonight. I'm like here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to can we just meet? So we met. And he was just like, yeah, this is what I can pay you. Like, this is what you'll probably do. Like, I don't know what, like, I'm not going to tell you to drop out of school, but like, if you want it, here it is. And so, yeah, just took the jump.
You did.
Dropped out of school.
Wow. And at that time, everyone's like, you're crazy.
Well, YouTube, I mean,
safe versus what the frick is YouTube?
yeah, no, it was like, you're going to drop out of school. It literally was like to make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he was doing big stuff. He was making good money, but it wasn't quite to what it was going to be yet. Where it was like a mainstay brand,
He was
tons of money.
blazing a path that I think all of us were seeing that were like, is this a career?
Yeah, no, like, because it didn't exist before that. It like, you had started to see like kind of the money come in and be like, okay, this could be something. But yeah, it was like right on the cusp of that. And I just started, I mean, I was the gopher. I was, hey, what do you need to like go get, like, whatever they wanted. Yeah. I did, whether it was video related or not. I was just kind of there to facilitate and help out.
That's a lot of stuff I didn't realize. I do want to go back. I want to go back again. I want to talk about even on your mission, your relationship with Parker. We didn't talk about that at all. Like, why were you the guy he had do edits? What did you guys become friends on your mission? Like,
yeah,
just that relationship. I've always been curious about. Like,
I think
you guys are good friends, or you're just kind of work associates, or like, how did that kind of?
No, so like I said, we met pretty early on so at the beginning of our mission, we were all living in like the same building for like, I think like a month, while we learned how to speak Spanish, essentially. And so there, you're with 20 other dudes, and you're all hanging out a lot. And so we just became really good friends. I mean, I don't think any rhyme or reason to it. We just, both got along really well. Both loved The Office. And so we, had some good funny moments there. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, just became good friends. And then we kind of followed, like we I think a couple times we lived in the same house on our mission. And just kind of where we could catch up, we'd catch up. And then, yeah, when we came back, just, we're just
stayed in touch.
Good buddies, yeah.
He just knew you edited. Like, how did that work relationship develop?
I mean, I think, because I remember like talking to him, and he was doing summer sales, and he's like, I think I'm going to try and buy a camera and do what this Devin Supertramp's doing. Like, that he really gravitated towards that. And I knew Devin Supertramp as somebody who did cool things that I was seeing on KSL. Yeah. Like when he did the Corona Archwing, that was a KSL news article.
Not YouTube. It was like an article on the news.
Yeah. And I didn't look at it as like, oh, hey, I want to go film that. It was like, I want to go do that.
Yeah.
And so I knew who Devin was, and then Parker kind of brought the film aspect of it. But yeah, I don't think he pushed me into like doing videos and edits. I don't think like, I just kind of started doing them.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was doing the GoPro videos. My wife was into photography, so I was kind of into that. And so I think we just kind of both started doing it at the same time. Him way more than me.
Yeah.
And then it was just like,
you were always in his pocket, like his back pocket, just like,
yeah,
he's Carter for this job and this job, and then you just kind of slowly fell into it.
Yeah, I think so. It just kind of became like, yeah, I don't really remember exactly. I don't think it was like it one big thing. It just kind of slowly, naturally kind of happened.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't something I was like setting out to do.
Yeah.
This is going back. What's funny about...
Scroll down even. Wait, because that's New Zealand.
So that's New Zealand. What's funny when I see this and I see New Zealand, it's like we were doing stuff that I wouldn't tell my wife about. Like whenever we jump off something,
yeah,
I'd be like, guys, you cannot post me doing this. Like I haven't told Kara that we're like bungee jumping or anything. And then I'd have to tell her when I got back.
We would always laugh about that.
So if we go, I mean,
you did that with him, the nativity scene?
I was just shooting behind the scenes.
I remember that. Like, these are all early.
Yeah, these are early. Keep going down. We can go. I want to get down to like where it first started. Yeah, keep going. Guatemala, that was a good one.
You got to like pile up them.
Keep going. Okay, so here we are.
Bye. Yeah.
So as you can see, scroll down just one more frame. So as you can see, my daughter's born. There's sweet little chubby Lola. And days later, I'm in Dubai. And that literally was days.
And I remember Devin talking about that, and he was like, I had no idea. And then I found out, and it's like, I felt so bad.
Oh, I got sick on that trip. That picture with the camel, I was sick as a dog on that trip.
And I was following, I don't think I followed you, but I followed Devin early days. And so as Park came on and then you came on, like you were a celebrity.
I'm the super unknown member of Team.
But I remember seeing that picture, like when you first put it up, whether I followed you or not, I can't remember. But like I remember that picture. I was like,
And
"Hey,
everyone's like,
how
who's the skinny,
why did-
goofy kid that gets to
how
work
did
with
he
Devin?
get to work for Devin? Like, what the heck?"
So there's Parker and I on the ski lift. So yeah, I mean, it was a good time. We were just like two super good buddies, just
Yeah.
out in the world, just working.
Getting a cool opportunity that wasn't a thing yet. Like, you guys were blazing that trail, like
Yeah.
working for a YouTuber.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, right. That's so cool. Yeah, because I wanted to kind of like, you kind of talked about it, but it's like that, you getting that opportunity to work with Devin, right? And maybe at that time it was like Devin wasn't hiring people yet, so it was kind of like you guys were just like kind of figuring it out as you went.
It's almost like we had to like suggest the idea to him, like, hey, like,
You need help.
you could hire somebody
Yeah.
to help you out. And you know, he'd kind of think about it. And he's like, well, you know, he hated being a boss.
Yeah.
He still doesn't consider himself a boss.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, yeah, I think that was a big jump for him. But I mean, I feel like at this point, like, I don't know exactly when, but when it took off fast.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I was pretty ingrained in the team before, but with one foot out the door as well.
And then you decided no more PT. I'm going to do this. At that point, knowing that you were full time, like, what were you thinking as far as career path? Were you still like, I'm going to be a beat behind the scenes? Did you have like a forethought of like, I might want to be a director? Or you probably didn't even think about being a producer yet. Or did you?
I mean, a little bit. So like I leaned pretty hard into like, well, this is what I do now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a video guy, and kind of like, I was never a movie guy. Started to like watch movies and notice like how stuff was shot and like behind the scenes stuff. And it's like, okay, maybe this is, so no, I definitely saw myself as like, I'm a videographer now.
Yeah.
I'm a filmmaker. I guess they're one and the same, but, so no, I started to do that because I was kind of like, you know, I guess this is later, so I won't go there yet, but the producing thing came super natural.
Yeah.
Because Devin was not organized.
Mhm.
And I don't say that in a bad way. Like, you need
We all
both.
know that.
Yeah.
We talked about it, and he admitted that. It's like, I just make videos.
Yeah. And so it kind of started to become like a thing where it was like the shoots were suffering a little bit because of it.
Yeah.
Not that the product was suffering, but the fact that like when we weren't organized, it made traveling like super hard.
Yeah.
So it's like, we kind of need somebody to like organize this. Because like Devin was doing all the flights. Devin was scheduling all the hotels, and it's like, or his dad was helping him. And it's like if you know Devin, it's like he's not a travel planner.
Yeah.
And so that it kind of started, that was a super, like I saw that completely from a business mindset.
Yeah.
Was, you need to make more money so that I can make more money. This is what needs to be done in your company, and this is a hole I can easily fill. And so I just kind of made myself more valuable by starting to produce in small stuff. Like on all the big stuff, he had I don't know his last name. His name was Buddy. He was a producer from LA. Whenever our agency at the time,
Buddy?
Yeah, older guy.
I know who you're talking. But didn't he have another agent in LA that was younger?
Oh, so his agent was JR.
Okay, agent. And this guy was a producer.
This guy was a producer. So it's like we had an agent, JR. Then back in the days of YouTube, you had an MCN, like a multi-channel network, and ours was full screen. And whenever we would do big productions, like Full Screen brought us big projects. Yeah. They were worried about safety and that it was done right. And so they would bring on a producer, and his name was Buddy. So it's like the Panama zip line off the building, like that was Buddy. So all the big stuff, it was always Buddy. Huh. And so I started doing the small stuff, but Buddy always did the big stuff. And so I wasn't really doing much of like, you know, like organize a trip here or there.
Yeah.
But not like, hey, you have to work with the brand, you have to work with lawyers, you have to do like insurance. And so then you remember the movie Point Break?
Yeah.
It flopped. But
yeah,
it
was the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the promo we made for it.
Keanu Reeves one or the new one?
The remake.
Yeah, the remake was
so Warner Brothers, Full Screen brings us this Warner Brothers deal. It's like, hey, Point Break, it's all about stunts. We want you guys to make a video about it. And so I was just kind of facilitating communication. And then all of a sudden, like 2 months before, Full Screen's like, hey, Buddy's not available. And on my email chain, or on my email signature, it said producer, because that's how Devin wanted me to present myself to people.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, can you produce it? And what's your day rate?
Hey, Devin, what's my day rate?
And it was just like, well, no, they wanted to pay me separately.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's how Full Screen works. They paid everybody as contractors.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of just one of those like, absolutely, I am. Yeah. Like, kind of just like, yes, I am a producer.
Of course.
I remember I went to Devin and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. And props to him.
Yeah.
because I don't think he had much. I think he was skeptical.
Yeah.
But he gave me the chance. I was like, hey, I want to do this. I think I can do it. I was way out of my depth, and he was just like, yeah, like if you think you can do it, go ahead. But I think in the back of his head, he was like, oh, fetch, man, like
it's a big production too.
it was, yeah, and that like a lot of stuff went wrong on that shoot. Not my fault, but it's like the insurance fell through like at the last minute.
Couldn't fly the drone.
We couldn't fly the drone. They wouldn't let the athletes step foot on the helicopter because of some insurance loophole. We had to make this is how insane this shoot was. At 7 in the morning,
Life, dude.
this was that. And quickly I became really good at it. At 7 in the morning on this shoot, if I remember right, we had to make every single base jump athlete, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
We had Marshall Miller and our whole team there. Marshall Miller was the only one that was an independent contractor. Everyone else was W-2 or 1099. I mean, so we had to make them all their own LLCs.
No way.
So that the insurance would. So then Marshall's insurance could cover it. It was some weird thing, but it's like, so we're doing all this at like in the hotel in Moab at like 7 in the morning, and I think we actually jumped without approval, if I remember right, because we only had the helicopter for so long.
Seems like I remember that too.
It was kind of one of those things where it was simultaneous. Like we were getting emails and they were jumping.
Will you pull that video up? Point Break Devin Supertramp.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. So that was my first big like, and dude, I remember being stressed.
Yeah,
because it was like, it was one thing I could get all the pieces in place. Like that was weird. I can get hotels and line up locations and deal with permits and stuff like that. But like the insurance side of things and like dealing with Warner Brothers legal team, that was like, okay, this is why Buddy makes so much money.
And you got thrown into like, sounds like you're doing a little bit of producing here and there, but like that was like LA level type producing.
Oh yeah. No, it was like
feature length type scenes.
Like I'm on a call with Warner Brothers legal department explaining to them how our production company insurance works. Like, so I quickly had to learn like, I don't even remember what they're called now, but where you get like those one sheet insurance docs to like cover what you're doing. It was a while ago. I haven't produced in a while, but so no, pull that up.
I still remember when you said, I'm done. I'm never producing. I think you didn't produce since. Go full screen on that. Just that little button on the bottom right. Oh, dude, because I can't remember how many shoots I was into Devin Supertramp yet, but I have a funny story about this trip.
I honestly
it's not funny.
Don't remember you being here.
See, that's what's funny is I actually have a picture of you, me, and Dakota wearing those helmets.
Oh, really?
Top of the mountain. Because I ended up going to the top in a helicopter.
I would have thought this was way before Italy, which is what I remember is your first big trip.
See, was this before or after?
So that's the stunt guy you were talking about. That was Charlie. But so I was just here like last weekend.
Colton Brockbank, Gavin Godfrey. I don't know the other two though.
I don't know that. Yeah, they sent it though.
Yes. So was this before or after Italy? Because I think that is the first time you and I like
so
know each other.
This would have been right after, because Italy was August of 2015. Don't ask me how I know this.
No, I remember.
But I know that this was Thanksgiving.
Okay. So yeah.
Because I remember, again, I was here this day actually, where we're shooting this was my daughter's birthday.
Oh.
And so it's like the same daughter that like I had left to Dubai. I mean, she was 2. She was fine.
Yeah.
But so yeah, this would have been right after Italy, which makes sense. You would have been here.
I've been looking for this spot. I actually went out filming for Nomadic and I couldn't find this spot.
Oh, it's like right off the road. It's like
so
probably
funny,
like 500 yards off the road.
And we wasted a lot of time trying to figure out. We found some other cool spots. I've heard about. Yeah, I need to go riding here.
I just want all. Yeah,
is this where you were?
This is exactly where I were.
Yes,
it's like we camped in the exact same spot.
So cool, man. You need to just invite me one of these times because I want to take my RV out, dry camp, freaking ride with my boys out here. It'd be so fun.
So this is where we're gonna get to. I know we've kind of watched the whole thing, but we're gonna get to the actual scene where we had to like get helicopters on top of a base jumping spot in Moab.
I didn't realize that. We made it look like they went from the ground to this because this is at the top of that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Those helmets, man. If you've seen Point Break, those helmets, those masks are what they like. Like I think Seth actually produced those helmets and did an awesome job.
So good. Oh.
Yeah. So this was the shot that we definitely stole because we did not have the right permission to do it.
I filmed some of those profiles of them running. That was like one of the first times I ran the big camera.
So yeah, so this was my first big thing, and then it just kind of kind of went from there to like, and then all of a sudden we never hired Buddy again after this.
Yeah, because you were like, I'm the guy.
But I mean, it made sense for Devin financially because it's like Buddy was expensive.
Yeah.
And that's all he did. And so he would produce and he would hang out, and that was fine. Like when I was on set,
You were actually able to
like
do
I was running main cameras, B cameras. I was the only, I mean, I have my Part 107 drone. So I was flying drones, not on this shoot, that happened later.
Yeah.
But so it's like shooting BTS. I edited a ton of, I just became like this kind of do it all, master of all, jack of all trades, master of none type of guy.
Those are the people I look for. Like, because we do all these things in my business. It's like I've had just a producer. I've had just
It doesn't quite work.
It's like, man, what we do, it's so nice to have people that can flex, especially it allows for full-time work. Because if you're producing, it's like you get it done and then it's like, all right, I'm just going to sit back and make sure nothing goes wrong. But you were able to actually help on set. While we are going into this next thing, will you pull up the behind the scenes of this or just let that roll for a sec? I think that'll be fun to see.
Those are actually what I enjoy watching. So like my kids got on a kick like a couple months ago where they were watching behind the scenes videos.
Dude, I know.
And it's like a whole nother lifetime that they don't even know about. Like
my kid, he's 8 now, and he has been looking things up too. And because he's all about YouTube, freaking obsessed with YouTube and loves Mr. Beast. And he thinks I'm Mr. Beast. Like he's like, dude, you're so famous.
That's
man.
awesome.
It's so cool. I'll ride that for a while. But yeah, dude, there's proof. Oh, wait, is that me? I was not doing the glide cam. I don't remember that. I'm not kidding. I don't remember.
Yeah, this is either do I. I honestly would have bet money you were not here.
Yeah, like I don't. So here's how I remember it. I was on this shoot and I actually had to do a video for one of the Gardner sisters, a wedding. Allie, she was getting married, and I bailed on it.
No way.
To be here, and I got so much crap from their family, and that's how I remember the shoot. Because I remember being at that little hotel and I was like, hey, I can't make it. I'm going to have one of my friends film it for you. And they were so mad. Because they're like,
we've been at the same time that like Devin was dating her sister. It was after.
It was after because they are the ones that introduced. They're the ones. So when I was like interviewing, I was like, hey, Haley, because I had done videos for them. I was like, hey, Haley, I know that you have this relationship with Devin. Like, is there any way you could put in a good word for me? And she did. She's like, hey, I work with Tyson. He's awesome. So I think she gave me an edge in that.
He bailed on him. Yeah. Probably a smart choice. Not super professional, but
super rude. Super rude. But that's how I remember this trip. I don't remember much more. And look at us.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, just
but this was after Italy. So I was well established at this point. At least I don't think I was working full time, but I was.
Well, I mean, if we want to go back to Italy, because that was your
we do need to go back. That's what I didn't realize. I thought this.
Yeah, this was a couple months after, because it's like I remember, I don't think I've ever told you this before. So when you were like interning, we found out we lived like almost across the street from each other. You were just on the other side of that.
It was when it was that ice skating thing. We connected, and that's where I was like, wait, where do you live? And you're like, I live here. I'm like, I live right down the road.
Yeah.
10 houses here.
So like I remember, I think
I was building that house.
Yeah, no, but you still lived like across, like within a half mile.
Yeah.
And I remember for some reason we started going to the gym together. I did not work out previously.
Right.
And my wife was like, why is he training you? And at the time I didn't know you at all. And I was like, I think he's just trying to like get into the Devin Supertramp. Yeah. So I was just like, I don't know if he's just being a nice guy or if he's trying to get his foot in the door. Like knowing you now, like you were just like, yeah, like come work out. But like at the time I was like, I don't know what his angle is.
I honestly never thought of, I may have had that like, oh, that'd be sweet. This is probably a cool opportunity to get in more. But no, I hope, yeah, like you said, I hope you know me by now. I was just trying to help.
I mean, I'm still, you can't tell, but like I'm still lifting like
good.
Most days.
You still remember doing those skull crushers with me?
Yeah, no, it was, I had to start from zero. I'll say that. But no, I remember Italy. I remember telling you on the plane, because you came as an athlete, not as a, and I've seen people get in front of a Devin Supertramp camera, and overextend, and almost kill themselves. And I was like, dude, because I didn't know your athletic ability. Like when you're like, yeah, I can jump. It was like, we don't need you. Like, Devin, what are we doing? Like, this kid's gonna film for us. Like, why are you making him jump?
You didn't come to have a soup bite.
No.
So you hadn't seen. Because that's why Devin invited me, was because of Have a Soup Bite.
Yeah, so
Tyson can huck a gainer.
Yeah, I did not know that, and I was like, Tyson, do not try and impress us. Like, we do not need you to kill yourself in Italy. Like, I remember being super worried about it.
And it was that first little cliff, and I was doing the like off the rail.
Super
And
sketchy.
you were like, stop. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, like the rail was slippery. It was like all rusted over.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That was me glide camming. What the freak? This is crazy. I need to watch this video.
Yeah, we were playing. Oh, yeah.
Will you pull up Italy behind the scenes? So it'd be Kentucky, Devin Supertramp.
That was when we were trying to do daily vlogging, so there might be like 10 videos of that behind the scenes.
Well, just X out of this and we'll kind of, as you're looking for it, I'll show you where it is. But yeah, I remember I still have like one of the fun, it's just funny how you remember things through pictures and videos, but there's a picture of you like when we were in that old McDonald's at the Delta terminal back when it was Salt Lake was super small. And here like eating a spaghetti. It was some kind of food, and I took this picture of you. Dude, I need to just show you after this.
I have no idea what pictures you're talking about.
This super funny distorted picture of you like looking at me. But and then you were like, bro, why are you flying in flip-flops and shorts? And it was like, do you remember that too?
Oh, because the overnight flight's got cold.
Because I had never done a Europe thing with you guys. And so you guys were I was getting thrown into it.
And we were seasoned veterans.
Yeah.
What's crazy about that is I felt like I was so old at the time and like just mature. Like, dude, we're like 22-year-old kids just on these cross-Atlantic flights every other week.
Yeah. And that's like crazy. And it was such a cool time too, like experiencing some of the coolest things.
Like I remember in this trip, we rented a car and for some reason I was the driver.
Yeah.
So I'm like driving through, and it was a lot. It was like 6 hours from the airport. And remember how many parking tickets we got on this because we didn't understand the signs?
Yes.
So if there was an open spot, we were parallel parking as best we could, and had like I don't know if I can go back to Italy. Like I have 6 or 7 parking tickets
for sure. That's so funny because I ended up going back here and showing Haley all these clips. And it was so cool to see this place. But this is probably where I feel like we really like bonded. It was always I think similar to Devin, like you and I, like there was always this like just. I would like, did you ever feel like we weren't quite, the jokes weren't there, like the comfortability was
only later on when I was put in a position, so here, no, not at all. But I do remember later on where you wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And my job, like I was trying to build the team.
Yeah. And
because Devin lived in Hawaii for like a year. So I was pretty much running the company. I think he'd agree with me on that. Like he was, like I was running his shoots. I was also running yours.
Yeah. You were my boss. You had to turn into that.
Yeah, like for all of a sudden I was everybody's boss. Yep. Like I remember having to get after everybody because the food and extracurricular activity bill in the Bahamas was insane. And so then I had to like make rules about what we could or couldn't do, and it's like why am I this dude? But
I forgot that you had to lay down the law, dude.
Like once it kind of became like I mean like everyone knew you wanted to, like you kind of had one foot out the door. I think that's where it got awkward, where it's like I was trying to do like not, and it wasn't even like Devin's bidding, but I mean a little bit just like hey, like is Tyson invested? Like this is what we need. So then I was like okay, like it was my job to manage the team.
Yeah.
So once it kind of became, instead of us working together, I was managing you.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to work for anybody or be managed. Like, I think that's where it kind of got a little weird.
No, for sure. And I want to get to the whole like CD thing and then just
I don't know if we're podcasting right now or just reminiscing. Like,
that's kind of the journey is like, this is a huge part of it. And we're definitely going to reminisce because I think that a lot of the times these podcasts end up kind of being like what I remember, and then you take it to like your experience.
Yeah.
At least the questions I ask. But because we did a lot of traveling, and I'm trying to remember one that stands out big time is the Belize trip, where you went on that. What else? What other trips?
See, that's what's hard. Like if I go through my Instagram feed, I can.
That's when you start to
but other than that, it's hard for me to piece them together. I mean,
because there's like highlights, obviously.
There's Belize. There's Scotland. There's the Bahamas.
Easy one.
Yeah, like I said, I don't remember. Like I have to go through my Instagram feed to remember.
Well, before let's obviously bring it back to what you're doing, and so you're now producing. We jumped so far ahead, reminiscing. Squirrel moment when you came on and you started. Like when you were actually doing behind the scenes and you were editing, and now you're glide camming. Were you thinking? You can take it back to the main screen. Were you thinking about, what were you thinking about as far as like direction for your career? I know you said you kind of like became the producer, but before that, were you thinking I want to do what Devin's doing? Were you wanting to direct? Were you wanting to be a camera op? Were you like, hey, this is a launch pad into like another career? Like what was going through your mind as you started to get
So I was pretty young. I was pretty naive with kind of business in general. Not that I like wasn't aware of it, but like, and when I say naive, I was naive in the fact that it's like I was really closed-minded, and the fact it's like, okay, I'm working with Devin now. This is gonna be like, maybe it was just old school, but I always kind of thought like once I started doing something, I would always do that.
Yeah.
Like jumping around was never kind of my personality. Like it was like, oh, if I'm gonna be a PT, I'm gonna be a PT for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
So my mindset was like, I'm all in on Devin Supertramp. And so, that's like when Parker kind of split off, and it was just like, well, no, like this is my safe journey a little bit. Like Parker took the risk. My journey was safe. Like, no, this is where the money is. Also at the same time, like I just had a second kid and bought a house. So like I couldn't really take another risk. It's like I just quit PT school like a year and a half ago. Yeah. So my thing was like, no, build Devin Supertramp up as big as I can, because I'm really well ingrained here. I'm integral in what he's doing. I guess maybe then, after Parker left, like the kind of running everything.
Yeah.
And so my thing was like, I knew I didn't want to, I saw very early on, it's like, I don't want to be slinging cameras at, for lack of a better word, because that's what they were at the beginning, like college parties.
Yeah. True.
Because that's, not a great lifestyle for like a married dude to like go like, hey, let's all go on a houseboat in Lake Powell with a bunch of single chicks. It's like my wife always kind of looks sideways at that, which, with reason.
Of course.
But it's like, not that I did anything to give her a reason, but it's just like, I knew I didn't want to do that. I'm like, I can't, I'm not going to, I don't want to be 35 and still filming stuff like that. And we started to move to narratives anyway, but that's why I kind of pushed hard into producing. I was like, let me manage the business. It works. I was better at that anyway. Like, I think I was a super decent editor. I was a decent, like I shot main videos for Devin Supertramp, which I still think is like kind of dumb.
Like it did. What did you shoot? What was the like?
I mean, one of the last ones I did was one down in Lake Powell with Bubba and Creighton. I don't even remember. It was for Discover Boating, and I shot the whole thing with like Jake Nearings and a couple other.
I should have asked that question because I didn't know that. Like you actually did shoot some videos. Like you direct shot videos.
Yeah, like I took the red and I went, and Devin wasn't there. I mean, it's hard to remember now. A couple other ones, some Red Bull one, if I remember right. I mean, it was few and far in between, but like I was shooting enough when you or Devin were there that it's like, yeah, I could go shoot my own video, and I could edit the videos too. I edited a handful of videos.
Editing.
But kind of forgot where I was going with that. But like I never.
It was just about like your career path at that point.
Yeah, like I wanted to be partners with Devin.
Gotcha.
And that's where it kind of like, I mean, I guess that's where my exit from Devin really took hold, because like we were far into it.
Yeah.
And like there's no like bad blood about this between me or Devin. Like it's just how it happened. Like we were like drafting contracts. Like I remember we had to sit down with I don't know if it was his attorney or who it was, and we had to like go through all the hard questions. Like, what happens if you die? What happens if I die? He's like, you guys have to answer these right now. And so we were pretty far into it. And like at the 12th hour, Devin was just like, I don't want to do this. But I think like how I took it at the time was like, I don't value you enough to bring you in as a partner. I think what he meant was like, this is a lifestyle business for me. Like it's not the corporation that you want to turn it into. And maybe it was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Just, and so that, like, I remember that day where it's like here, I thought we were going to be partners. And then it was like, actually, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I remember Zane I remember walking into my office and packing up my things. I mean, it was the end of the day anyway, but Zane could tell. And I was it was kind of bad timing because I was going on vacation the next day. Maybe it was good timing.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of looked at Zane. I was like, I'm not going to be here very much longer. This was like in April.
You called me. Do you remember calling me?
Probably because you had already left. I remember when you left was kind of a gut punch.
Yeah.
Not a gut punch in like I remember where I was. I was at Starvation Reservoir, sitting at a picnic table, boating, and you called me and said you were leaving to Nomadic.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I'm super alone in this. Because at the time, Devin was living in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So the stress of like bringing in more money and growing the company was kind of on me. And I remember like when Devin told me he was moving to Hawaii, I was like, I thought we were about to like just kind of like button stuff down and like really grow.
That threw a huge.
Yeah, and then he left. So then I remember being like, well, great, like now what?
Yeah.
So, like, and
So
so
who's gonna shoot here? That was probably
it wasn't even that. It was more just like everybody's jumping ship.
yeah.
And so it's like, what does this look like? Like, I even felt in a way Devin was jumping ship a little bit. Just the fact that he was off. He had just got married. He was doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, where does that leave me? And so then that's where those were the first moments of like life after Devin kind of started to maybe take shape.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that happened. I'm pretty sure I reached out to Parker just to get advice.
Yeah.
Maybe in the back of my head, I was like, hey, I wonder if he's got a spot for me. And it kind of almost felt like he had been waiting for me to like approach him.
Yeah.
Because once I approached him, I don't really remember well, but like it went pretty fast. Like, hey, I have an offer for you.
Yeah.
And so like I said, this all kind of happened in April, May.
Yeah.
By October, I left Devin Supertramp.
Yeah, I remember that. The whole I'm curious, and you don't have to answer any of these questions if you don't want to, but I really want to understand.
I'll answer them and then you can cut them out.
I really want to understand because I forgot that you were heading that direction with Devin. I remember.
I don't think anybody knew.
But like, I feel like there was something that may have hinted it. Because as you're talking about it, I was like, okay, I kind of remember that was, I think because I talked to you about leaving. And there was something that was keeping you there. And because I didn't quite understand that. Like, I was like, it was after the Sea-Doo thing.
Yeah.
And Devin doesn't remember that. And I brought it up and we'll talk about it. But from what I know and understand, and I'm excited to hear Parker's perspective on this too, is like, he wanted the same thing. He wanted to be a partner and grow this Devin Supertramp thing into something bigger than just Devin, right? Like a big corporation.
He also wanted to start the school.
Yeah.
Which we started doing. Like, I remember him and Devin and Dakota filming tutorials in Devin's apartment. Like, I remember we had all the lenses on a table and we were filming videos, and it just became apparent Devin wasn't going to do it. And Parker just saw the opportunity and just like, and he's like, I'll just go do it on my own.
Got it. I didn't realize that, but I knew, well, Devin talked about that, but that's totally makes sense. Like, he saw that like, oh my gosh, which at that time was so not normal. Like, everyone's got courses now, but so the reason I'm bringing that up is like, you probably had a really close relationship with Parker, and he was talking to you about like what he was thinking, and he probably, I don't know who told me, but that was one of the main reasons is he left, is he wanted a piece of the pie and Devin didn't want to, and he kind of backed out at the last minute as well on that deal. When you were heading that direction, was there a little bit of like, is he gonna actually do this?
Yeah, just because I mean, I don't think him and Parker ever got like really far into the process. Yeah,
I think he probably just presented like, here's what I'm thinking, and he's like, no.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can't speak for it. I was never in on their meetings. But
then Parker leaving, and
well, like in the immediate, I think so, if I remember right. Like, I felt like there was a little bit of friction when Parker left between me and him.
Yeah.
Because there was friction from him and Devin. And I think it was just like, I had to choose sides.
Yes. Well, and you were choosing your family, essentially.
Well, like, it was just like, because I talked to Carrie about it, and it was just like in hindsight, yeah, it would have been a great business decision to leave.
Yeah.
But it would have been a hard year.
Yeah.
But it's like, at the time, I had just put a mortgage down on my house, or bought a house, had my second kid. I mean, I dropped out of PT school like 18 months previously. It's like, to then leave the one safe job I had to go start something new just like was not in the cards for me. Like, like maybe I should have been more daring. But so when Parker left, there was a little bit of like, oh, like, you're choosing like your sugar daddy over like, and so because there was friction between him and Devin, so then I was choosing Devin. So like, I think there was probably a period where we didn't speak,
and that's
a lot. Like, like he was doing his own thing, I was doing mine, and so it's not like we were in super close contact by any means.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And then so that was the question I wanted to ask, was, did you try to, did he ever present an opportunity like, hey, will you come do this school with me? And it sounds like, yes, that was maybe the case.
I think so. Like, I want to say like that was kind of maybe discussed a little bit, but like, I never leaned into it seriously.
I mean, it's so easy. It's 2020. Hindsight is 2020, right? Like, at that time, well, no way. That's scary when you have so much responsibility. obviously looking at it now, it's like, okay, that could have been something cool, but like, there's no way you can, can't tell you how many times I've looked at that kind of situation in my own life. And it's like, well, you just don't know. And you had to make the right choice for what was the best for you at that time.
That's why I say I was kind of closed off business mindset wise, because if this would happen today, I would have been like, okay, yeah, like I'm going to start doing that with you. I probably would have had my foot in both camps a little bit, but I wouldn't have been like, no, I'm all in on this job I'm in right now. It would have been like, no, how many streams of revenue can I create for myself? So that's where I was too young, where it's like, I should have done both in in hindsight. That's what I think I should have.
You're so loyal. And I think that, I mean, I remember Devin always telling me that, like, because I would always I wouldn't post a lot of stuff. I would cause a lot of friction.
You're a little diva.
I was a diva, 100%. That's the best word for it. And I remember having these conversations, and Devin just, I just want you bought in, man. I want you to like post our work on your personal channel. And like Carter does that. And it's like, Carter's bought in, like Carter's here. And I just
see, but I would say that is the mistake. And I've made it 3 times. I won't go into every time.
Yeah.
But the mistake I've made, which I would warn people about, is unless you have equity in a company, it is not your company, and don't act like it. It's like, you can be a good employee, but I've gotten bit on that a couple times where, because I think it was the way I was getting paid. I was getting profit sharing. So it's like, when we would do big projects for Devin, I would make good money. So it felt like the company was partly mine. But at the end of the day, it wasn't at all. And like, you can be left with nothing really fast. So I've learned that twice. And so that's probably like, that's something I've talked to people about, like, hey, like, be a good employee, but if you don't treat it like your company unless it is.
Bro, you're preaching to the choir, and you know a lot about my situation. That is some of the.
So like, you say that you were a diva. I'm saying, like, no, you were probably right. Did you handle it the best way?
Probably.
No. But like, I didn't do it correctly either, because you can get left high and dry pretty quick.
Yeah. And that was my turning point, was the Sea-Doo trip, when you and I had talked about the numbers, and it was like, holy smokes. And I think we saw an opportunity, because I talked through you to Devin, and I'd actually love to hear your perspective on this. Because there was this, I was making 5, I think I wanted 10%. I might have, I just think
you got 10%.
Yeah. So I was making 10% of the profit, and we had made 200,000 profit or something like that.
That was a great little shoot.
Amazing shoot. So I'm like, holy smokes. And I think we talked about it, was like, there's an opportunity here to do more commercials, not flip channel. And so I think I presented it to you, and then you took it to Devin. And when I found out that wasn't a thing, it was like, we're doing the channel. That's when I was like, okay, well, there's no more here for me.
Right.
And so that was when I started to actually think about leaving, but then Nomadic approached me. Do you remember that?
I remember. I remember super well. And I'm actually curious, based on the conversation you and I had before coming in here, kind of the other, because I think there was somewhere in the middle. Like, you wanted this, and Devin was over here. And so I was trying to make you see his side and make him see your side. And I knew there was some sort of middle ground, because it's like, yeah, we made a lot of profit on that shoot, but like, also all the cameras were already paid for. All the insurance was just covered under his umbrella. Like, all those like logistical little expenses, where it's like, you were just seeing the profit line. Devin was seeing his overall annual expenses just to have everything available to do that shoot. And so I was trying to make you guys meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, it's not this and it's not this. And so now I have like you running a business. Do you see that other side of it?
That was the coolest part about talking to Devin, was like, I understand where he's coming from on all aspects, not to the level as far as like fame, and like, I guess I'm sure his business is, I know it's made way more than I ever have. And so it's like, not to that level, but as far as like managing a company and just realizing it's not, and everyone, it's like, oh, you made $1 million. No.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Like, cut it in half with taxes.
Exactly.
First.
And then, your expenses that come with it are insane. And so that's the hardest part about running a business. So I totally get that now. Didn't even have a clue at that point.
Yeah.
I was seeing dollar signs, like, holy smokes, we could do this. But it was similar to, I think it was like, I wanted to franchise Devin. I wanted to be like, cool, let's use your name, your reputation, and go out and get more gigs like this, and actually grow a side of the business. But I said, the numbers have to flip. Like, I need to make more because I'm doing the work. But then at that point, me being a little bit naive, is like, the numbers can't flip as high as I would have wanted them to, because I don't have any expenses, like any overhead. I'm just doing a thing. But then, that's how franchises work. But anyway, that's I forgot about all that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
So
glad
that's where
you put it into
when you say like, hey, did we ever have? And it's like, well, yeah, I was stuck in the middle.
yeah,
I was like, I was trying to keep you on, trying to keep Devin happy, but like I knew early on it was like you lasted a lot longer than I thought you would actually.
Yeah, well, I think I'm never gonna just like leave something. I'm always like trying to build another source. And so
Which is what, like I said, that's what I should have done.
yeah,
Like done both.
if my YouTube channel or something took off, I would have for sure. But like I wasn't making any
What was it called back then?
Which one?
Your daily vlogging one. It wasn't
Tyson and Haley.
No, you called it something.
It started out as Tyson and Haley, but I switched
The Hendervilles.
style.
Hender style. Something like that.
I think I even changed it to Henderson Hills at one point.
Yeah, that was honestly something that I like never understood.
Yeah.
I remember like
The
I
vlog.
was like, maybe he's gonna make lots of money, but I was just like,
It's
because you were all into it, and I was just like, that
was.
looks exhausting
Yeah,
to keep
that
up.
was, and it was so much of it that I realized too was about the memories I was keeping. So it was funny because I was pretty obsessed with actually filming and just doing what I said I was gonna do. Like
Yeah.
going back on, I still struggle with that to this day. It's so hard. But like when I say I'm gonna do something, I want to keep doing it. So I was doing that, and I kind of announced it. It was like, this is happening. But then I stopped doing it for like 2 or 3 months, and I saw this like hole in my life of like, oh my gosh, my kids, all these things. We didn't film any of that. Like,
Yeah.
how sad. So then that kept it going. But ultimately, yeah, no, I saw Casey Neistat. I saw everyone was jumping into vlogs that had essentially made it. And I was like, this is a total revenue source that I could build. And it wasn't an all-in career. It was like, this is an extra source of income that I could make. And that's always been on my mind, like
Yeah.
investing, like it's always been diversifying. And that's the business side that I always kind of had that I didn't know. And that was what I was getting a taste of at Supertramp. I was like, I think there's something here that we could do more of. But so it could have worked out, but at the same time, it was meant to be, and it all turned out to be what it is. But anyway.
Like imagine that world though, because I do think it all worked out really, really well.
Yeah.
But like imagine that world where Devin Supertramp is in this huge building, and on one wing you have full-time filmmaker, on the other wing you have Tyson Henderson. Who knows what other spin-off, like this whole like conglomerate.
Yeah.
I don't know if it like I think about that, like I did this whole big thing, like it could have worked.
A freaking rock star team, man. And then we bring Zane in, and we've got a whole narrative side.
Yeah.
It's like we had so much talent at that company, and we're all there kind of at different times, but kind of overlapped. But I think about that a lot, like what it could have been. But at the same time, it turned out and worked. I think we all ended up going the direction we were going to go anyway.
Yeah.
And I will never forget one bit the experiences we got to have, the relationship. I mean, I built my entire demo reel from Devin.
Yeah, the amount of experiences we had as like that's, and I almost sometimes feel like a little jaded to it, because people are like, don't you miss doing all that? And there hasn't been a single. I thought it would be like, and maybe when I left, like COVID hit, so they stopped traveling anyway, but I thought I would see what they were doing and be like, oh man, I wish I was there.
You knew the reality.
But it's like every time I brought out the suitcases, my kids would like kind of go nuts a little. Like they knew what it meant so it's like,
your kids were older.
Yeah. So it's like, that was one side of things where it's like, the traveling wasn't sustainable. But then also it's like, traveling the world with a bunch of dudes is great.
Yeah.
But when you're not creating memories like with your kids and your family and your wife, like it's like I remember walking around the Coliseum.
I was going to bring that up. Dude, that was a big moment for me too.
Walking around the Coliseum.
When you brought up.
Did I say it out loud? Yeah. I remember being there. I'm like, this means nothing. I'm like,
right, this is cool, but like it could be so much better with my wife.
Yeah. And so it's like you're seeing cool stuff, but it's like it wasn't with the people I wanted to make lifelong memories with. Nothing against you and Devin and Creighton and whoever else was there. But it was just like, it's what I miss more than anything. I miss how hard it was.
Yeah.
Like that was a super cool feeling. Like Devin Supertramp shoots were so hard.
Yep.
And it's like we were literally pulling off these stupidest things, impossible things, with hardly any money, hardly any crew. And so then at the end of that shoot, that adrenaline, when it's like when you can just sit down. Like I remember in the Bahamas, sitting down on the beach because we needed somebody to watch the sea-doos. And like everyone was tired. I was like, I'll sit here. I'm like, the shoot's over. That feeling of having done that hard thing. Yeah. And just enjoy, like I enjoyed that chase quite a bit. but then also like the relationships.
Yeah.
Like not even with, I mean, the team, of course, too, but it's like the people you'd meet. Like when we went to Normandy and like met all the retired like Rangers and
Yeah.
so it's like stuff like that. That's what I miss the most. I thought I would miss like the destinations and like what they were doing, but it was more like, yeah, it was unexpected.
Yeah. And that's exactly how I felt when it ended. It was like, I was in Brussels and I was with Brandon and that skateboard.
You and Brandon went to Brussels?
Yes.
I did not know we were sending Brandon to the other end of the world. Okay.
He did behind the scenes. It's just me and him. And I was over it. I was always thinking about was my family. And I'm like, I just want to do this stuff. And dude, that quote you gave me, however you said it was something about, this is awesome, but it could be so much. I feel like it's kind of dumb because I'm not with my family. Like,
yeah.
I would rather be with them. And this experience would mean more. Dude, I think about that all the time now. And that's so a part of me. And it's always been that way. It's like, I'd rather just be with my family and create those memories and give my kids cool experiences. But I was in Brussels and laying I think I took like a good 6 hour, like I'm just staying at my hotel. No one knew. And it was just like, we've gotten all the footage. Brandon, go out and film him. And he did.
Oh, really?
And I was like done, but I hadn't had the opportunity for Nomadic yet, but I was just like so jaded and so over the traveling.
Yeah.
Just like, it's kind of like you go to so many places and you start to realize it's the same place, different people, and everyone's the same.
Yeah.
Everyone's insecure. Everyone's got, what their likes and dislikes, but it's like, yeah. So totally understand what you're saying there as far as like missing it and not missing it, but the relationships definitely.
Well, I started to give up a lot of trips. Like I had a Lake Powell trip planned. The whole team was going to Africa. 8th wonder of the world, Victorian Falls.
Africa.
No, it was a hard pass.
Yeah.
It was like, no, like I've had a trip planned.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it wasn't even like a week long trip. I was like, I'm going to Lake Powell for 3 days. Like, have fun in Africa. And it's no, for sure.
That's pretty wild. And so you've kind of gone through your whole experience. Talk to me about producing real quick for Devin Supertramp. Just give, for anyone that's like listening that, maybe wants to be a producer, talk about what that was like and the amount of fun / stress / hard things you had to deal with. And also working with Devin as an employee, but also essentially a partner. Like you were his side guy, like everything for him.
So producing, I mean, essentially, especially for someone like Devin, because it's one thing to be like, hey, like we're going to do a shoot like this and we just need a studio and we need the crew there and the actors, maybe some props. So it's like, producing 101 is just like, you have to put all the pieces together.
Yeah.
So it's like you take the script or you take the idea and you have to have everything there to make it happen. Everything from the food to the crew and the lights and the stunts and the insurance, like everything, you are in charge of everything. If you've done your job right, when you're shooting, you don't have to do anything, like zero stress. But so where it became super interesting for Devin, or I guess different or hard, was it's like, hey, I want to make a slip and slide out of a military airplane.
And that was probably an idea.
I tried to tame him down so many times because I was like, what's that movie, that Inside Out movie where the blue chick, Sadness. Know what I'm talking about?
You were the sadness guy.
She was always the buzzkill. So it's like, we're in these meetings and it's like, yeah, slip and slide out of an airplane. And I'm like, no, like, and so then it would be like, no, okay. So like a small airplane.
Yeah.
Just like a little kid slip and slide. It's like kind of funny. It's like, no, we need a military airplane with like a 200 foot runway.
Slip and slide out of an airplane.
Slip and slide out of an airplane. So he would ask the most like outlandish ideas and I had to make them come true. I literally felt like I was pulling magic fairy dust out and just being like, okay, like, you dreamer, let me like make this a reality. And that was, at first I pushed back really hard and I would try and dumb down his ideas. And then I just started to go with it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, when we hit a roadblock, we'll pivot. But I knew like, that's how Devin worked. He's like, well, let's at least ask.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me start going to, like, I didn't know where to go to find a military airplane. Like, do I call the military? Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Found out, and then you just start digging around and then, you eventually find it. Like, I won't go too much into the airplane stuff, but like eventually it works out or it doesn't and you pivot. But it's just like, yeah, you have to make everything come together. I don't remember what your original question was, but
just producing for Devin or just producing in general and the amount of things you pulled off. Because the first time you did a C-130, I think was a Super Bowl, right? So you already had that connection for this shoot.
And so that, I guess, that's
That's
true.
a huge piece of producing probably, is just building relationships.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is
on.
it gets super easy. Like as you start to do more shoots, they're like, oh yeah, we need a military plane. And I remember who was this for? Sony? Canon.
Yeah.
I remember they're like, where are we gonna get a military plane? I remember Devin on the call would be like, oh, Carter's got a guy. It's like, yeah, I got a guy down in Mesa, Arizona that rents these out by the hour.
Don't worry, Carter's got a guy. And I'm sure that becomes so much of it is like you just call on people.
This is still probably at least top 5
For sure.
top 3,
especially experiences. Like
can we talk about this for a second?
yes.
I almost want to pull up the beat. We'll let it play. But so I remember, so imagine you pack 20 people into this airplane. And remember how hot it was?
Yeah.
It was the middle of summer, Arizona. They close the door on the airplane. It gets hot and stuffy. Everyone's sweating. We start to take off, and I realized that our inflatable slip and slide.
I forgot it was Arizona. And then we faked it.
We faked it into a, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So I remember the slip and slide was about to blow up because we were going up, and that thing was getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and you couldn't hear anything. So I'm like yelling at Strat, like, hey, pull, because I was strapped in.
So loud.
I couldn't walk. So I'm like, pull the plug. So it's like, the airplane's up there, so you see this inflatable slip and slide right there.
Yeah.
And like the amount of things that had to happen between takeoff and the green light of them going, like we were like pulling the plug on it, getting to altitude, filling it back up,
like a normal thing,
spraying it down with water. Like I remember I had a little like thing you spray your lawn with soapy water. Yeah. And then the light would go green and everyone would rush out the door, and it's like
no one could hear it too.
Yeah. Oh, it was a mess.
Oh, and then it's like, no, not everyone.
Yeah.
And it's oh crap, everyone's going.
Yeah, this shoot, like that was probably the most chaotic mess of a 30 seconds.
Because I was standing by you. I was filming the guys flying out, and you were next to me, and so we were able to talk, but then none of the athletes could hear us. And it was like, all right, just send one at a time, and then it's like
all of them are going out of the plane. Yeah. But yeah, no, producing for Devin, it's unlike anything else. You're doing. I mean, 1 minute you're getting planes, and then the next minute. It was just so different. That's what made it fun, was like it was a unique challenge, and that's what I miss, is that hard kind of like sprint.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, for 30 days this is all I'm focused on, and then you'd get it, and there'd be kind of a letdown. Like I remember flying back from shoots or like being at home with family, and it's like, oh, I don't really have anything to do, and so you were kind of always chasing that next little adrenaline.
You thrived on the problems, I think, and you were really good at it, and you really became that person. And that's why I wanted to ask the question, is like, that's an experience no one else has had like you have, as far as like producing this type of content. Because obviously producers are shooting movies, but like, dude,
I think it was the pace of it though. Yeah,
just the rate. You weren't just focused on one shoot. You're not then you're like focused on 4 shoots.
I lived on my phone.
Yeah,
like my wife hated it. Like I was always on the phone, just like wheeling deals for different things. Like I remember there's a picture. We don't have to find it, but there's a picture on my Instagram, I think, that you took. We were on the back lot of Warner Brothers Studios.
Yeah.
Part of me, like, I hope we don't sound like tools, for lack of a better word. We're just like, oh yeah, like Scotland and Bahamas, and it's like
we're jaded.
Yeah, like we did a lot of cool stuff, and I'm not trying to name drop, but it's like you took this picture of me walking back and forth on the back lot.
I know exactly.
Of Warner Brothers Studios, because all of our costumes didn't make it on the plane.
Yeah. So
we're there. Oh, I remember that. We were there with tons of money. Like we rented out Warner Brothers backlot for 1 day, and our costumes didn't make it. So we had to extend a second. Oh, that was the worst. But yeah, man.
What was, I know I can think of one of them, but what was the hardest shoot that you produced, I guess, on any level? Like what would you consider the hardest shoot that you produced?
I mean the first one, but that's just because it was the first one for Warner Brothers. Like I can't think of the hardest ones. I can tell you which ones, like the top 3 at least. Point Break, because the Warner Brothers legal team was a nightmare to deal with, and rightly so. They had a lot of money on the table. They didn't want to get something to happen. The Super Bowl shoot.
Mm-hmm. That was what I was gonna say.
Yeah, well, so do you remember what happened on the Super Bowl shoot?
We had a C-130 that was by the hour, and it was how much an hour?
I don't even remember.
And the helicopter went down.
Our helicopter, like,
just didn't go.
Well, no, it had engine failure and glided down like helicopters can do.
The air started going.
Yeah, Devin said it was like the most scared he's ever been, because they were up there, had the master alarm that there was like metal in the rotors or something, and so they had engine failure, and they did that glide stop down.
crazy.
tore the engine apart on the runway.
Yeah.
Found some of the, because it had just been serviced, so like a little bit of metal bits must have got in here.
Yeah.
And decided it was good to go and fired it back up. But
So stressful.
oh yeah,
Think about it going back up and being in there.
well, because so like you talk about producing. So okay, that happens. What am I doing? I'm on the phone trying to find a freaking helicopter to come in to replace it.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
and
can shoot or fly a shot over.
yeah, so it had to have a shot over mount. And so yeah, we're calling. Okay, you're in San Diego. We're here. How soon can you be here? How much are you gonna charge? Like, and so then we actually found a bird. We actually found a helicopter. Couldn't find a pilot. So then I'm like, okay, how do I find it? So you're just like, even to say it out loud now, it's like, man, like I was doing that as like a 25-year-old kid.
Right. It's amazing. And so how much was the C-130 an hour?
I have no
It
idea.
was just sitting on the runway. It was like 10 grand an hour or something.
Something like that, because I remember we were always usually around 5 hours of flight time, around
Yeah.
50 grand, if I remember right. But
And
yeah,
the clock was ticking.
yeah, no, it was just sitting there.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Oh man. And I never envied you. I never wanted to produce. I loved having you on shoots. Oh,
We
gosh,
just
dude.
show up.
I tell Haley that to this day. I was like, because I don't plan. I don't love to plan our trips. I don't like to put agendas together, but I love when people have them for me. And I love agendas. So like when Haley took us to Italy, she did everything. Here's my card. Go ahead. Do it all.
I don't want to think about it.
And I tell her about you. I was like, I love when Carter was on shoots because it was always so planned and you were the dad. You took care of all of us. We were eating good. We were sleeping good. The shoots went as good as they could.
As good as they could.
You could never plan a lot of things that happen.
I never resented that, say but one time.
Yeah.
Maybe can we pull up the behind the scenes on the cliff slip and slide? What would that be called?
Which one's that? Oh, the Moab
The
one.
Moab one.
Yeah, good question. Slip and slide off of a 500-foot cliff.
Yes, the
Yeah,
yes.
separate it. Yeah, do the BTS and you can pull it up here and go through it while we're talking.
But so I remember on the shoot, I never once felt like, man, I'm doing all this work and people are just showing up, except for on this one, because we literally had to rig the slip and slide on the side of the cliff.
Devin Supertramp, slip and slide.
Yeah, slip and slide. It should show up.
500 foot. There's so many.
Keep going down, not that one. Down, 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 down. Cliff slip inside that one right there.
That's a terrible. No.
Oh wait, no, that's not it.
That's a bad thumbnail.
Go back. Keep going down.
Oh my gosh, and then the dragon one. What about that? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Wow. Oh, there it is. That's
Click on the main. Click on the main one, and you'll be able to. No, not that one.
No.
One below it.
right there.
So we can just watch the main video and not the behind the scenes. So see this whole structure right here?
Yeah.
Thousands of pounds of equipment, and we had to bring it all. We had to hike it in.
Yeah, I remember you were pissed at me because I didn't show up like till a day later.
And I said, yeah, and it took, and we were super understaffed. We were undermanned. We didn't realize how far the hike was. We thought we could park the cars really close, but then the BLM wouldn't let us. And so I remember hiking that stuff in, and we were struggling. And I remember, and then you and Devin and Zane called me like, hey, like we're on the road. We just, stopped at a gas station singing Kumbaya in the car, like having a good time.
Screw you guys.
And I was just like,
just you and Ron Nix.
it was me, Ron Nix,
Athlete.
Al, Marshall was there lifting, and he didn't want to be lifting weights because he was like, I gotta jump tomorrow, so he didn't want to be exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Brandon and Seth were. I don't really remember, but
Creighton came.
I don't think Creighton was here. Maybe he was. Yeah, Creighton was there for sure. But I just remember thinking like, you turds are just like driving down here, and you're gonna show up and film. Like,
I felt bad. Well, I felt as bad as I could because because I helped to bring him back, and I was like, how?
yeah, I made sure everyone
Did you guys do this by yourselves, basically, without us?
I think we paid like 10 people to drive down from Salt Lake and help us because we thought it was going to be like as bad as it was. It was easier to take down than to set up. But during this shoot, kind of off story, like you talk about producing problems.
Yeah.
The BLM, who we got permission from, the Bureau of Land Management, they had just switched positions. There was this awful lady that would not let us film anything. They finally switched to this other person who gave us permission. This other retired lady, she was in the bushes with her husband with a camera, like trying to like catch us doing something that we weren't
Really?
permitted to do. And so then we were like dealing with her. Like I remember we had to like go over and like ask him to leave. And then our location scout who knew her personally was like, get out. Like it was this whole like mess. And she was trying to report us.
What?
Yeah, just like
Karen.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, before Karen was Karen, she was the OG Karen.
Oh my gosh, it's funny.
This shoot was, I did not enjoy the shoot. I'll be honest. I was never. Wait, can you pause it and just go back like 10 seconds?
I mean, we honestly thought someone might.
Just click back like 10 seconds. I want to show.
It's really hard because
it's hard.
To, like see, it's not a mirror.
Oh,
It's an extension. So yeah, do your best. But
I wanted to show all of us. Yeah, you're so close.
There it is.
Or maybe
Just click. Oh, there we go. Okay, just keep your
left just a little bit, right there. Click on that.
Just hold up.
So this shelf we're standing on, everybody over there on the left, that shelf was only 2 feet thick and goes out like 20 feet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was standing on that thing filming slow motion like all day long. Like
and that's you.
Yeah, I'm in.
That's Devin.
Yeah, so I have the little thing that sprays. I'm to the left of the slide, and I have the water sprayer, the white water sprayer in my hand.
Yeah.
But usually I was over on the left with the slow motion camera.
Yeah.
Because that's another jack of all trades thing. It's like not only am I producing the shoot,
You're the phantom guy.
I think I flew the drone on the shoot.
Yeah. No, Chris.
Maybe Chris was there.
I was going to tell you, Chris. I had Chris on my podcast last.
Oh, nice. Is he in town? I thought he lived in Missouri.
He was driving from Moab to the airport, and I caught him. And anyway, we talked about this shoot, and we have a whole different perspective than you. It was like so amazing, and like because we had the parallax with the new drone, and I was out hopping for him.
No, man, I just remember sitting up there filming and just wait, because when the parachute opens, it's like, and just waiting for I was just like, because I mean, knock on wood, like Devin Supertramp, I think it's a miracle. I'll say that, like, it's a miracle nobody died.
Nobody died.
Not on this shoot, but on all of the shoots altogether. Like, we had a couple, like, broken collarbones and broken jaws. I think one chick broke her jaw.
Ankle on that slip and slide.
I mean, people would get concussed out. I mean, speaking of concussions, I remember, like, I had to pull Bubba out of the water face down. Like, we have video of that.
We talked about that. It's like, that was the one thing I wanted to talk about, and he's, like, upside down, like, one arm.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, dude. I don't know how, and I think we even talked about it and, like, tried to talk about it quietly.
No, we never said it out loud because we learned it from Marshall Miller's crew.
Yeah, because it's Super Bowl. Do you remember that? The dude there was a guy that am I allowed to talk about it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So on the Super Bowl shoot, the day before we were going to go up, we were just there, and someone had just died that day.
At the
skydiving.
Oh, but it wasn't part of our crew.
No, this was the day before we were going to go jump, but we were like, oh, well, but there was this weird aura, like no one talks about it.
Oh.
Everyone was so happy. We learned that like you just don't talk about it.
Yeah, I know that crew, they didn't talk about it. And we had a very close call on this shoot. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to name names, but somebody had just broken up with their girlfriend, flew in overnight, and I remember everybody else was like, are you sure you can make this jump?
Yeah, I remember that.
And he made it and did a front flip and then decided to do a second one at the same time. He was and almost got caught up in his lines. And I remember I was standing right next to Marshall Miller, and he was just like he turned around and was like, oh man, like, and they just kept sending it.
This was one of the most stressful things, obviously for you, but also just every time that shoot opened, it was like, oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
But that was kind of normal, man. That was like every day, just watching people do crazy things and survive. So I really wanted to just get your perspective on producing and just that life. I think, what time is it right now? Because I always get into this like zone and I kind of forget about anything else. So are you 12? Okay, we got like 30 minutes. So let's move on from Supertramp, but we'll transition. So you're still there. We bring Zane in. You guys started going more into the narrative route. The partnership thing didn't work out. Take me to those. You already kind of did, so let's just kind of brush through that. But you basically got to that point of like, I'm leaving. What happened at that point?
Yeah, I was just starting to look for the next thing. Like, I knew Devin wasn't long-term. Like, could it have lasted a few more years? Yeah. But I was like, let's just start looking. I think I even interviewed at Nomadic.
Did you? Oh, you did?
Yeah, 100%.
Forgot about that.
But they were looking for something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kind of started to look. And like I said, I think I went golfing with Parker and we talked. And it was kind of a slower process. Like we were talking for like a couple weeks. And then also I remember, I think I got a text from him that was like, hey, would you be interested? And it was one of those like, no break. Yeah. Like tell me when and where.
Yeah.
But I think that was in the middle of the summer. And he's like, well, it wouldn't start till like the end of the year. And I'm like, oh, like, okay. So then I was just like, all right, I'm not going to tell anybody. I knew I was leaving. I remember like Bubba and Creighton, especially like in the summertime, they were asking me, they're like, so like, what do you think? What are you doing? And I just wouldn't say anything. Like, I just like, and Bubba wanted me to, cause he was like, you're leaving, aren't you?
Yeah.
I remember, and Creighton was like, stop asking him, Bubba. He's like, anyway, so I wasn't going to tell anybody. And then, I think Devin called me and he's like, hey, like, are we good? And so then I just had to kind of be like, yeah, like we're good. But like I'm leaving. No, I told him, I was like, I think I had like 3 more months.
Yeah.
And I even had to be like, cause I felt like, hey, yeah, I'm leaving, but you have to pay me for 3 more months. I was like, if you want me to leave right now, I'll leave. And he's like, no, he's like, if you're willing to work, like, so I stayed till like almost the end of the year. But I do think it was kind of a gut punch for him at the time. Like, hey, I'm leaving and I'm going to work with Parker.
Yeah.
Not. I mean, I know they've cleared the air since, but there was a little bit of weirdness between them.
I just remembered when I left, one of the first things he said to me, he's like, where are you going? And I was like, to Nomadic. He's like, oh, okay, good. Well, as long as it's not with Parker.
Yeah, no, I think there's like I said, there was some weird stuff, but they've kind of, they're good friends now, which is great. So yeah, there was kind of some tension there. But so yeah, so it's like I worked till the end of the year, and then I hate to say this because it kind of sounds like, because I do feel bad for them that it happened, but for me it was like perfect timing because COVID hit.
Yeah.
Like, so this was 2019 December I leave. 2 months later COVID hits, and I mean that shut down Devin Supertramp. Like no travel, nobody spending money. So I'm sure for him as a business, like that was a really tough time.
For sure.
I think he probably underplays how tough it was. But I just, having known where his money was coming from and how his business worked, like I know that he had to have taken a huge hit.
Yep.
And so it's like at the time I was just really grateful. Like I hated to see other people suffer.
Because then you guys are online.
Yeah. So
digital product.
For us, it was kind of the opposite. Like full-time filmmaker, it was like, we saw a huge boom with COVID because everyone was stuck at home. Like, yeah, let me get this online course. Yeah. And it was just like, we didn't know what to do. Like everything like just kind of exploded on us, really. So yeah, I worked for Parker. I was pretty much he didn't want to manage a team. So I was doing what I did for Devin without the producing. Mm-hmm. So I was just managing the team, overseeing like all the different course creators that we had. We would do some productions here or there. I was running a lot of his like marketing, like Facebook ad spend and different stuff like that, but really just kind of that jack of all trades, master of none type thing.
What did you, I guess when you went into that role, was that the expectation? Were you going for that reason, or did it just like, hey, come on and we'll see what happens?
No, it was like, hey, come help me run this. Like, come help. Like he knew that he wasn't great with people, which is interesting because he's like a super funny guy. But yeah, he's an introvert. He does not like to deal with people. I think he's good at it. Doesn't like to do it. But he was just like, yeah, come manage this thing for me. I think he kind of wanted to. He had been putting 2 or 3 years into it full time. Mm-hmm. And even stuff like his wife Lexi would tell me like after, like, oh man, I'm so glad you're here, because I think I freed up a lot of Parker's bandwidth and time for sure.
That's cool.
But it was great. Yeah, I was there for, I mean, not a ton of stories there. I mean, I was there for probably 4 or 5 years. During that time, his team changed a little bit, but we started to develop VidLead pretty soon after I came on. Like we always knew, it's like, hey, like, and VidLead started out as like a kind of like a Tinder for video pros and clients, and we still do have that aspect of it. But we knew from the early days when we were developing that side of it, we wanted to replace HoneyBook because everybody was using HoneyBook, and we saw flaws in it. And so that was always like, that was on our idea board. It's like, okay, we're going to build this first thing, but when we get money in the door, we're going to dump it all into, we're going to replace HoneyBook so we can do your invoices and your emails and all that stuff. And so that was, like, I worked for Parker for 5 years and VidLead hadn't launched. So it took a while, but it's like from probably the first month I was there, we knew we were going to do that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that was always on the mind. And as far as developing it, were you developing, like you were?
I found the team. I'm not a developer. So it's like the first iteration of VidLead Pro. I think I found a team in like Brussels. They did okay. I had a developer that I had my eye on. It was actually my brother-in-law who worked for Adobe. and he would never come on full time. And then they built like 90% of it, and he was just like, man, I could put 2 months into this and make it look a lot better. So then he finally came in, and so it's like technically he's an owner now. So me and Steve and Parker were the 3 owners. And yeah, just kind of slowly started putting all the pieces together until, what the software is today. And we haven't developed all of it. There's some aspects of it that we like developers had already built, and we just white labeled the tools. It's like, hey, that's a really powerful tool. Let's white label that and then sell it as our own. But then we build our own stuff on top of it as well. So it's kind of a mix.
So in this time while you were there, you're heading towards this, obviously this is an entrepreneur like route where you're like running a business versus like actually working for somebody. When you were at Parker, was that when you were with Full-Time Filmmaker, were you seeing that as an end game, like, or were you trying to figure that out as you were going through those 5 years?
So I saw it as like an end game, maybe not like the full picture. Like I said, I'd kind of matured a little bit. So I was like, yeah, let's create VidLead. Let's have this source of revenue. But then also we had Full-Time Filmmaker, we had Course Creator Pro. What I didn't envision, because at the end of the day, if we jump forward, what happened is everyone kind of siphoned off and went on their own routes. Parker sold FTF to Landon. Landon went this way with it. Stockton, Parker's older brother, took over Course Creator Pro. He went that way with it. I took over VidLead. I just kind of goes back to the Devin Supertramp thing. It's like, why, it's really powerful people and talented people, and they were all under one umbrella at one time. And so I kind of envisioned it going that way. It's like, yeah, we have these 3 things. We'll probably create more things, and let's all keep going with them. But maybe that's just not how it works, because yeah, everybody kind of took their own vertical and went. And I didn't see that until too late in the game. Like I should have, ideally I would have seen that kind of happening like a year before I did. But so then I was kind of left a little bit like, oh, like VidLead is my future. And it's because I was used to managing everything, and that's a really valuable trait until it's not.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's like when Parker was running everything, I helped him keep all those plates in the air. But then if Landon buys Full-Time Filmmaker and it's like, oh, well, you're doing a little bit here, but then you're also here and here, all of a sudden that's a very unvaluable. Yeah. So and that's what started to happen.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of left holding the bag a little bit, like, oh shoot. So then I dove into VidLead, head first. In hindsight, I think it's great because it's like, your time's focused here. I mean, all your eggs are in one basket a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't have other stuff going. Like I do marketing for other people on the side, mostly like family members that are running businesses. A couple things down locally in St. George, but yeah, so I just dove into VidLead, and like I said, I think hindsight, it was kind of good that everybody did that. You kind of do your own thing, you kind of run your own show.
Yeah. I had Nate Taylor on this.
Yeah, he called me, I think, like when he was driving home.
Call that guy.
And I didn't answer, and then I actually texted him like a week ago because something else came up, and I was like, hey, you called me. He's like, yeah, I was on Tyson's podcast.
Yeah. He's my neighbor. Like he lived right by me, and I didn't know him at all. Like,
yeah, I remember when he bought that house.
He, I think he reached out, hey, we're neighbors. And I was like, I had heard of him, but I didn't know he worked for Full-Time Filmmaker. And then we started talking. He's like, yeah, and I worked for Carter. I'm like, that's right. That's so crazy. Carter. And he said that Parker fired everybody. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a shocker to me. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I thought everyone left.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how it happened slowly, and Parker can probably talk more about this, but it's kind of like, we had a big COVID boom, and then it kind of like settled down a little bit. And then it's like, Parker, he demands a lot out of himself, and so he demands a lot out of everybody else.
Yeah.
And if he kind of felt like people weren't really giving it their all and he was overpaying them, he'd bring them back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's
smart.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, business-wise, for sure. And so it kind of turned into like, hey, like, I don't think for what we're paying these guys, we're getting, their worth. At the same time, he kind of helped them see like, hey, you probably want to go out on your own. Like maybe it was his soft way of firing them.
Yeah.
But I think he was kind of showing them like, hey, Jake, hey, Landon, like, here's what you can do. Like here's what you can do with me. But do you really like that? Do you like me harping on you every week to like get out all this stuff? He kind of showed them, like kind of helped them kind of spread their wings a little bit. Whether he was trying to fire them or help them spread their wings or a little bit of both.
No, I can totally understand that perspective too, because everyone will outgrow what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to, I mean, having a Devin, having it with Full-Time Filmmaker, that you can only go so far with people. And so that totally makes sense why that ended up happening. And so for you, did he have that conversation with you, or you were just like, hey, I want to just do VidLead? How did that transition happen?
I mean, Not really. I think that I mean I knew beforehand he was going to sell full-time filmmaker. Um, and I mean none of this like it kind of sounds like, oh, he said this, didn't do this. So it's like, I mean, how it happened was he kind of did like so when Landon was buying full-time filmmaker, he kind of did like a trial period, and it was like, hey, like, come in and run this for 6 months, and if it goes well, then you can buy it. So kind of an unorthodox way of doing it, like auditioning to then pay you lots of money. But he cared about full-time filmmaker that much that's he just wanted to make sure it was in good hands. In order for Landon to do that, I was pretty integral to that. So it's like I had to kind of help Landon run it, show him what we were doing. I was still running ads for him. And so essentially I helped Landon replace myself. But I told Landon like, hey, I'll help you do this, but like, what's in it for me? And he's like, oh yeah, we have a seat for you at the table. At the end of the day, that was not the case. I don't hold Landon against that. That's just business.
Yeah.
And that's just, like I said, until it's your company, it's not your company.
Right.
And so that I like, at the same time, call it luck, called a major blessing. We launched VidLead like a month before Landon bought FTF. And so it really, without skipping a beat, is like, I thought I was going to be doing both, and kind of, bam, bam, bam. All of a sudden it's like, oh, I guess I just got fired.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I kind of was really pushed into it. Not that I probably wouldn't have done it anyway.
Yeah.
But I was
like,
kind of,
this is the last thing.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, well, I guess I'm just doing this. I was just kind of envisioned doing it all. Yeah. Like I said, that's really valuable until it's not. And then it was like, all of a sudden it's like, wait, you're super replaceable. It's like, well, yeah, if you're just talking about what I'm doing in this business. But I mean, we had FTF, CCP, VidLead, FTF gear. He was running like a golf simulator business. So it's like I was managing all of that. So it's like, yeah, when you bring it down to just one, yeah, super replaceable.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Well, it's a major lesson too for anyone that's listening, and I've been through it, where you're a very loyal person, and you are a good person, and you're like in these things, and you kind of just, not that people aren't good, but everyone's looking out for themselves. And I've learned that a few times in business too, where it's like, yeah, I've got equity, and then when it's all said and done, you have absolutely no control, and you're left like, oh, are you freaking kidding me? But that's life, man. And that's a hard lesson to freaking learn, and that's why I'm so set on like doing my own thing, is it's like, at
least you control it. At the end of the day, it's like, at least if I fail, it's because I didn't try hard enough or I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
It's another thing to like have no control and just be like, actually, like, we're just not going to pay you money anymore. It's like, oh, like, all right. Yeah. So I'll lose a lot less sleep. There's a lot of stress in running your own thing, but I lose a lot less sleep knowing that it's like, at least I control it a little bit instead of just kind of at the will of other people.
Yeah. And the whole like idea of security is not real when it comes to like a job.
Yeah.
But you need a safe job, a safe salary. And everyone's kind of realizing that. I think it's changed over the generations, especially in ours. The real security is in making your own money.
I don't view it as safe. I view it as easy. Do you know how easy it is to show up to work at 9 o'clock and leave at 5?
Yeah.
And not think about it that night or stress about it?
I know. And a lot of people are like, man, it'd be nice just to.
You're your own boss. You get to do your own schedule. It's like, I also never stop working. Like, so
you're making a great point. Like, I'm talking about how it's so great, but then holy crap, the stress and the I don't know.
And there's no way
it takes to keep going is so hard, because it would just be easier to do that.
You can't know it until you experience it. Like, unless you run your own company, you have no idea what the business owner feels, even in a really successful business. There's a great quote by Elon Musk. He says, running a business is like eating shards of glass and staring into the abyss. And he goes on to say more. I wish I knew the full context of it. But essentially what he's saying is like, you are dealing with the worst problems at all times. If there's something that's going well in your business, great. You have nothing to do with it that day.
Yeah.
You're only dealing with the problem. So that's the shards of glass. Yeah. And staring into the abyss is the never ending of your company failing the next day.
And then that level of stress that he's at. And then there's the Steve, the Apple guy's name, Steve Jobs quote about, for anyone to start a business, you have to be crazy, essentially, because I'm butchering it. I'm not even quoting it, but basically the idea is that it's so hard that you'd have to be insane to do it. And that's the thing. But then at the same time, it is security, because if you have the right mindset and the right will to hustle and go make things happen. Like I've kind of touched on this transition at my business right now of like, I went a direction and I kind of put my foot in my mouth of like overspending and realizing that's not real. And I had to dig us out of a hole I created and hustle and go get work. But another huge piece of that was the Lumio. And you knew I worked for Lumio Night Identity, and that was supposed to be amazing. But that ate my company up over 2 years. And by the end of that ends, they go bankrupt. And I thought I had all this equity, which actually I didn't have. I think I had it for 3 months, and I was there for 3 years. We had to sign a thing because the CFO messed something up, and everyone's like, oh, you got to sign this because he effed up the company, he got fired, and essentially it wiped out all their shares, and nobody knew that.
Oh, geez.
So I went for 3 years not knowing didn't have shares, because when the new CEO came in, I talked to him about it and I told him my story. He's like, I'm going to be honest with you, you're not on the cap table. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, nobody is. It was only these guys. I'm like, so this is the hard truth of like, you think you know people and you think you trust people, but they're looking out for themselves.
Yeah. And that's just like everybody, like at the end of the day,
Hard lesson.
Money can be a big stressor on friendships, relationships.
Yeah. And what's cool about your experience, as much as maybe you say, you had done things differently here or there, you learned how to run businesses without running the business and necessarily having the risk.
Yeah.
And now you're able to take that into VidLead and anything else you do beyond. Like, you have so much experience running companies and seeing the numbers and seeing the inside and managing people and dealing with divas and things like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, and at the same time, until you run it on your own,
yeah,
you have no experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's
true.
It's a little bit of I didn't realize how, and not in a sense of me being lonely, but how lonely it is.
Yeah.
Running a company. It's just like, oh, it's literally just me.
Yeah.
So it's been fun though.
Yeah. Literally just you. And that's another thing with partnerships. It's like, I want to navigate, and I talked to Mitch Stain a lot about this, about like partnerships and like growing something beyond just yourself. And that's like so scary, but it's like you get to a certain level and then it's like, okay, partnerships, and you have partners. Can you talk on that a little bit? Because as far as like running a company with other people.
Yeah, I think it's hard because it's like, because I've been on both sides of it. I've, take what Devin's doing, and it's like, okay. And I go to Devin and it's like, hey, in theory, like bring me in on this. And by me being here, we can double what we're doing, or 10x what we're doing. And so that's like an ideal scenario. But there's also the other side of that, where it's like Devin's like, look, I've built this, and you coming in doesn't really move the needle a lot, makes my life a little bit easier, but now I'm carving out a huge chunk for you. And so it's like, I can see, if you don't start from day one together, I can see why a lot of people who start businesses aren't bringing in partners or giving away a lot of equity if they can help it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I can speak too much on like running a business with partnerships, because I've technically never done it. I've kind of felt like I felt like me and Devin were partners.
Yeah.
I guess to an extent, it felt like me and Parker were partners a little bit, even though like I was more aware of the situation then than with Devin, just because I grew up a little bit. But yeah, I can't say it's like, yeah, this is what you should do for a partnership. I've never technically done it.
Well, it works for some people and it's a disaster for others. And there's no right reason, I think. But that's at the top of my mind right now. And so I'm trying to figure.
Is that what you're trying to do? Are you trying to?
I'm just trying to go beyond what I've done. I can't go
outside yourself.
I can do more.
Yeah.
And I think we capped, like, it's like so hard to grow.
Yeah. In a service industry.
But then also, exactly. And then also to retain people. You know what I mean? So that's hard. But cool, man. I think that pretty much brings us to like where we're at now. Is there any advice? Actually, before that, I did tell you I was going to ask you this. What does like the next 5 to 10 years look like for you? Does obviously VidLead's a thing. Do you want to take these experiences and then go do your own thing, or do you want to like stay in video? Do you want to go just get the frick out of film? You're kind of already out of it, but you're dealing with filmmakers.
Yeah, I mean, I've been through so much in the video space that I do enjoy helping. Like on a weekly basis, I'm on calls with video pros who are in the early stages or middle stages of their business and helping them through hurdles like this. And I can just provide a lot of insight, whether it's like tools that my software can fix for you, or just valuable insight. Like, and I do enjoy that part of it. I don't imagine. I mean, I guess I'm not sure that there's two paths. It's like, I could have VidLead as an exit strategy, where in 5 years I sell it. A software company is easy to sell.
Yeah.
Or it's, it's always kind of something that I have. I just don't spend a lot of time in personally and do other stuff. For me, I mean, like I said at the beginning of this, film was never the goal for me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's funny, like I hear Parker talk and you and Devin, maybe not you as much, Zane for sure. It's like their passion is making the videos.
Yep.
And I never felt that way. It was always a means to an end. So it's like I said, I have a lot of hobbies. I like doing stuff that's not work. So I do not work to live, or I do not live to work. Like probably almost to a fault. Yeah. It's like, I'm always trying to balance, like, all right, I better work today. I mean, it works for me. Like, if not, like I get depressed. It's like, I can't, so I have to do both. So for me, the passion and the goal was never the work. It was what it bought me. Yeah. And what I want it to buy me is, what everybody wants is freedom of time. Yeah. Which I think that's where you're
100%. We're like
in a service industry where you have, you're going to have a harder time with it than I do, because you have to replace what you're doing every day.
Yeah.
And there's parts of that in my business right now where I have to do that. It's like, and I think everybody kind of has goals. It's like, okay, I'm going to hustle and I'm going to do X, Y, Z for the next 2 years, and hopefully I can get to a certain point, and then I'm going to hire somebody else to do that. Like, I have those same principles as well. I think right now I'm still in a little bit of like the hustle phase of it, where I haven't quite, there's stuff I don't want to do on a daily basis that I haven't replaced yet, but I plan to. But yeah, to me, it was always a means to an end. It wasn't the goal for sure. And there's some people that live to shoot videos. So that was never me.
And that's not me anymore. I think back on career choices, and I'm like, I could have gone a lot of different routes. Fortunately, I did love to make videos. And I mean, I think anyone that does, maybe it's in at least my mindset, can be creative or just have like ideas. It was exciting to me.
It's a great tool to have. If you're running a business and you can do your own video ads and your own, like, even if you're just doing video for yourself, an amazing asset to have.
Especially for like what you're doing as well. Because the cool thing about my business is that I can step in and do all of it and do anything. And fortunately, I have that. As people kind of come and go, is like, okay, I can step in here and do this, or I can do that, and I've got experience and everything. My goal is to ultimately do what you're saying, and that's take a skill, get it to a point that I can build it. And unfortunately, I built a service business, or I went down a service industry route. And I think a lot about, like, man, if I would have known like the different industries that would have been better to get into to get to where I'm trying to get, I would have probably gone a different route, like software for sure, like being able to sell something that's digital. But if I'm being completely honest, though, I've not regretted any of the experiences that film has brought me, and it's built my life, and now it's just trying to figure out how to do it bigger, and so yeah, I think
think of every single person you've had on this podcast. They've ended up in completely different places, all because of video.
Yes, and so that's 100%, and I think that's why it's called the journey. It's like, you think you're going to do something and you end up going a totally different route. And I am in a totally different place. I thought I wanted to just be a director, but then it's like, actually, I want to do a business. And for you, it's like, you didn't even know you're going to do video. And here you are going through video, and now you're like out of video, but
yet still very much in it.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's cool. Like, if we talk about a filmmaker's journey, I think a lot of filmmakers, when they start out, or video pros, are pretty narrow-minded.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I'm going to make videos and that's all I'm going to do. It's like, you can do so much with it.
Yeah.
Like, and you're always kind of doing video, but whether you're running an ad agency or a media agency, or, your own business, and you're using the video to sell your product, like, there's so many avenues you can take with it.
It's an extremely valuable skill, because I think it's going to be that way for a long time. AI is a new thing, but like, I think it's going to be something that sticks around, especially editing and just doing all that. So anyone that wants to get into video, do it and just see where it takes you. And that's what I always tell people it's like, you're going to find things you don't like and find things you do like, and you're going to go down a different path that you thought, but at least just get started on making something. So,
for sure.
Well, let's wrap up with just a little bit of advice as a producer, and a business owner, and a software owner. What do you call it?
I don't even know.
You
People
own
are
a
like,
soft-
people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, I
You own a
guess
software-
technically I own a software company. Which is kind of weird to say.
Yeah.
I mean, advice. I feel like any advice I have, I feel like I kind of sprinkled
Yeah.
in throughout
Lots of
this, but
nuggets.
just to kind of reiterate, I would just be very open-minded to every opportunity that comes your way.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't think it's in, there's something to be said to have a goal. If like you're like a Zane and want to be a director and you don't want the distractions. If you have a goal and it's not helping you get to your goal, that's fine. My goal is always to make money so I could have a better lifestyle and more freedom of time. So knowing that's my goal, sometimes I was too narrow-minded to opportunities that were at my doorstep. And you can call it loyal, you can call it narrow-minded, whatever you want to call it. I would just say, be open-minded to stuff that's coming your way and figure out how you can make it work. Because I think video can take you in a lot of different places. And if you are too narrow with it, if that's your goal, that's fine. But if not, you're going to pigeonhole yourself for sure.
I love that. That's really great advice. Look at us, man.
It just came to me off the top of my head.
Look at us. Like, we're so wise.
Do you think the seven people that, I don't know how many people are watching your podcast. Do you think they're gonna?
Ouch.
I'm just
200.
No, I'm talking about me. Like it's like
no one's gonna tune in.
it's like nobody knows who this Carter dude is.
Yeah, right.
But it's like I don't think because really I wanted to come on here because I saw you reminiscing about all these
so
old times, and then it got me thinking. It's like I want to go reminisce. This is like
Yes.
I hope they enjoy it half as much as
But
we.
here's what I found out after like 3 or 4. I didn't realize this going into it, but like, how cool is it? Just like all these Devin Supertramp videos you're able to show your kids, you've just now told your story. It's your career. It's you. It's literally who you are.
I feel like even my wife will watch this and be like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like
And-
it's like as I told it, I was like, yeah, this is kind of just
It's your journey. It's obviously I make it a little bit about me every now and then because of my experiences, and it's unique because I know you. Where some people I have on, I don't know them, and I just let it go. But with you, like we've spent so much time together in ways that not many people do. We slept in the same hotel room.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you still have them, but remember you used to have like the night,
Yes.
like Tyson, you would sleepwalk,
Yeah.
and you were a big dude,
Yeah.
and like sometimes
great.
I didn't know if you were gonna start like I remember being in again, this is name driving. We're in the French Alps at that ski
Oh
resort,
my gosh, that's another one, dude.
and you woke up and started like hitting this pillow.
I forgot.
And I was just like, I do not want to wake him up. I'm not gonna make a sound. I don't want to.
You're like,
I'm
just Tyson's doing his thing again.
No, but at that time I didn't know. And then the next morning I was like, dude, what were you doing last night? You were like, you were mortified. You're like, did I sleepwalk? And then you told me about like, yeah, Haley tells me I sleepwalk. And I was like, oh no.
Do you know what I found out? Why that happens?
Why?
And why it happens so often at that time? If I consistently get around 4 to 5 hours of sleep for a long period of time, it happens. Like every other.
Oh, you're just sleep deprived.
It's the sleep thing. When I started to sleep 7 to 8 hours, gone. And then so I would test it. I would like go
Oh, no way.
hustle. So it was that hustle time, right? In my 20s, I would just
We were also jet lagged on different
exactly
time zones.
had
Like,
all the time on those trips because of the sleep deprivation. The worst one that ever happened was the Germany trip I went on the Seine. Every night we were sleeping 1 to 2 hours, and just those few hours, I mean, I was freaking him out like so bad.
yeah.
So many stories, but I forgot that you had experienced that too. That's what I mean by like, yeah, our journeys definitely overlap for a long time, and a lot of the experiences and memories I have are with you, and we know a lot of the same people around the world, which is super fun. And so thank you for taking the time to be on this, telling your story so that generations to come can watch the Carter Hogan and hear your story up to this point. And then in 5 to 10 years, we'll do it again and
Let's do it.
talk about that and actually where you ended up. So thanks for being on. That's the should I do the whole like, all right, comment, like, subscribe, ready for podcast, over and out. I know I say all that stuff. It's just a good ending. So if you want to look up Carter, he's got an amazing account. He posts 4 times a year for each of his kids. Volume, what are you on with Lola?
Volume 12. Volume 12. Yeah.
Crazy, dude. That's so wild that you have a 12-year-old. So go hit him up if you have, but most importantly, go check out VidLead if you're a video pro. What they offer is amazing, and we're working together on one of your projects, and I'm learning a lot about it. It's cool. So appreciate that. You actually being on here, and let's just end it right there.
Cool.
Thanks, bud.